Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast.
Okay, welcome to another episode of the Welsh Yogi Podcast. This is almost the anniversary.
2-year anniversary.
Two-year anniversary for the podcast.
Yeah, we started in lockdown 2020.
Thank you. We got Paul in the studio audience giving us a little clap there. I can't believe we've been doing this for 2 years. It feels like we haven't even started.
I feel like we're just now starting.
Yeah.
Like we got our act together. We got a Stronghold studio set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes a couple of years to get your act together, doesn't it?
Mm.
Okay, so this episode...
It's sponsored.
Sponsored by someone?
This episode is sponsored by the Atma Lounge.
Is it?
The Atma Lounge is a city centre hub of spiritual well-being that provides delicious vegan, plant-based food, delicious wraps, delicious curries, delicious rice, delicious dal, loads of different drinks, nice little eco shop. Every single Wednesday at Atma, they do a fabulous...
Proper fabulous. Absolutely fabulous program.
Yeah, program. Like a talk and a little bit of musical meditation by the monks of T. Krishna Cymru. And the Atma Lounge is situated in the capital city, capital shopping
In the capital shopping centre?
Yeah. Opposite Poundland or KFC on Queen Street.
Okay.
That was a little bit from our sponsor.
Okay, and now we'll go into the main event.
The main course. Where's the main event then today? Go on.
Well, you're the one who said you wanted to talk about Destiny, but
No, I've just been thinking about Destiny. I don't know how to jump into it.
No, go on.
What are your thoughts? Just the word Destiny. What do you think about it? 'Cause the reason I say this, I was watching Tyson Fury. In his
boxer.
The boxer, yeah. In his
World heavyweight champion, right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got every title. And in one of his post fights, he was saying, this was written in the stars.
Uh-huh.
Like I was supposed to win this. Does my mic keep going up?
I don't know.
Anyway. This was written in the stars. This is my destiny to win these titles, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about that conception because a lot of people might think that's sentimental, right? How could your destiny be written in the stars? Like, there's no such thing as destiny.
You think most people think like that?
A lot of people do. Like if you talk about anything about astrology, that's definitely woo-woo, hippie magic.
Mm-hmm. Have you had your astrology done?
Not fully, but I know what Varna I am.
Uh-huh. You know, have you had your astrology done, Paul? Ever had your astrology done?
Oh.
No, I'm like Gemini.
You're a Gemini.
Paul's a Gemini.
I'm an Aries.
He's a Gemini.
But I guess by astrology...
I'm a Virgo.
Uh-huh. Which one's Virgo? Fish?
Virgo's I think it's
Pisces.
the Virgin Lady.
Uh-huh. So, because you can have... I've had my astrology done by some astrologists in India. And it's a bit more of an exact science than it is over here. Over here, it's a bit more like you see a horoscope and... You know, today on Aries...
Sun Magazine or Suncat, what do you call it? Newspaper.
Yeah, or online, or...
Yeah.
It's a bit more generic. But there they give specifics. You know, you need to know what time of the day you were born and where. And then they become quite specific about your character and about different things that'll happen in your life, and even when you're going to get married, when you're going to die. And when I had my astrology done, in retrospect, it was very accurate about... You know, I'd just been married, and the person didn't know anything about me, and they said, "Okay, you said you were going to get married about this year or last year." I mean,
who is this? Who is just curious?
His name was Nishinga Nitai. He's from Vrindavan.
Vrindavan, India. Was he Indian person?
Yeah.
And what kind of clothes?
He studies.
I got to get into this.
Well,
how does this happen? How did you get your? Is it like a mystical experience?
I've had it done a few times. I think I talked about one time on this podcast, but this was his name's Nishinga Nitai, and he was. You know, when you go to Vrindavan or when you go into the holy places, when we go to India for pilgrimage, you get these these guides that show you around all the holy places. And his name is
tour guide, is it?
like a holy tour guide.
Nice.
And his name is Nishingan Nitai, and we've gone with him for the last few times because he's just very nice. He's very, what's the word? He's got a very high character,
Really?
Like
Like Vedic, like...
Paka Vaishnav, speaks brilliant English and also brilliant Hindi and so many different languages. And he, despite being very serious Vaishnava, he's a ISKCON devotee, is spiritual master Jayapataka Swami.
And just for people, just dictionary, Vaishnava means someone who's dedicated their life to God. Would you say that?
Vaishnava is that specific spiritual practice where in a particular, we're probably going over a lot of covered ground now, but you have many different spiritual lineages and spiritual lines, and one line that they worship, or they worship Vishnu, or Vishnu's different forms such as Krishna or Rama, then they're called Vaishnavas. Like you have Shivites and they worship Lord Shiva. You have Christians who worship Christ, similar sort of thing.
Okay, I got you.
But you could go into it a lot more. But yeah, he was very strict Vaishnava. But he studies, there's this top astrologist in India who's almost like a mystical, and he actually, when I met this Nishingan, he recently met this top astrologist, and he actually studies from him.
He's like his guru, his astrology guru.
Yeah, because you need everything. You can't just pick up a book on astrology and I think, I'm an astrologist now. I mean, it's such a science that you can have these apps, and you can find something to do with someone's astrology if you get the right sort of database and someone's time of birth, etc. But generally, like any science, it needs to be properly taught. You wouldn't pick up a book on heart transplants and then, okay, I read the book now, so I'll give you a heart transplant. You need someone who's accredited and been taught. So similar thing with these sciences like astrology or Ayurveda or things like that. They're not so cheap that you can just get a weekend online course and become a Reiki master in 3 days or whatever.
So you got Nishingan Nitai, he's your holy spiritual tour guide. Did he take you into his cave? Is it how does this work?
He did take us into where he lives.
Where does he live? What does it look like?
He took us where he lives, and then in Vrindavan, and we went on top of his roof, and then we did a yagya, or a little fire where you chant these mantras. Wow. He's also expert in ancient Vedic priesthood. He knows all the mantras. He can do these. He's quite classical like that.
Like the classic way of chanting at one of those fires.
Yeah. Om Swaha, Om Brahmana Deva Go Brahmana Hechaya Chan Jagati Jaya Krishnaya Govindya Namaha Namaha Swaha. Like that. Anyway, I don't know where the story's going now. But anyway, he did my astrology and it seemed pretty accurate.
Okay. Okay.
That was basically it. I didn't even want to go into it.
Did he look at the stars at all?
No, they have a whole Bhrigu Muni, who was like a ancient sage. He saw that in the future people will become more and more or less and less spiritually qualified, so he actually wrote a lot of it down. What was that, Paul? Yeah, you can close that door just to...
Thanks, Paul.
I think I can hear a hoover.
Someone's hoovering, someone's doing some service.
Yeah, we're in the hub at the minute. We're in the spiritual hub of Cardiff, right in the temple.
Yeah, in the roof.
Yeah.
Like 2 bats hanging out. 3 bats.
We had to pause our T. Krishna building because they found a bat in the roof. They did a bat survey.
There was actually a bat up there.
There's a bat up there, and bats are quite protected apparently in Wales. So you have to. But we paid a lot of money for this bat survey, and then I saw the woman do it, and she was just sitting on a chair with a clipboard, just looking in the sky to see if she could see a bat.
Sounds like your astrology reading.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, that's the thing. You don't actually, like Srila Prabhupada, who's one of the main teachers of Krishna consciousness. He actually didn't. You don't put too much importance in astrology in this day and age, because in one sense it doesn't really matter so much. It only it's like seeing the weather forecast. It's okay, if it's going to rain today, I'll gotta remember to take an umbrella. So similarly, look at your astrology. Okay, this time in your life, your Rahu's going to be right up Uranus, so you need to make sure that you.
What are you saying?
You need to make sure that you take precautions. Okay, I'm going to go through a rocky period at the minute, but following like the yoga lifestyle as taught in the Bhagavad Gita, it actually automatically protects you from all these things, and even can make everything auspicious.
So back to the theme of destiny.
Yeah.
So is it the case that someone's sort of fate is pre-written at the time of birth?
Yeah, you have. It's like you get on a. If I like recently went to Hungary, didn't we?
We did.
You get a ticket to go to Hungary, and once you're on the plane,
Mm.
then your destination's pretty much predetermined. But on the plane, you can do so many things. Like recently, at least in America, the on-flight, it's like road rage, but the plane version has increased more, something like 200% since, about masks and that.
Okay.
So people refusing to wear masks or causing a...
It's kicking off like.
Yeah, so if you're on a plane, you could strike up a business deal with someone, or there's stories about people meeting their future wives on a plane, or you could, get arrested, and when you land in the other place, then there's police come and, haul you off. So you got so much independence, but it's within a certain scope.
Yeah.
You have, so it's a mixture. There's a mixture of destiny, of a path that, you're destined to trod down because of what you've decided to do in previous lives, and you have free will in this life to do so many things. It's like you've got certain destiny to have, like we have a certain body.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything to choose this particular body. It's just sort of come to me.
Just lucked out.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. But something came on social media yesterday. There's this woman. She weighed 680 pounds. She's huge.
Fairly.
And I was thinking, we all have different types of bodies.
Yeah, and we have different types of minds too.
Hmm.
Like, there's three main things that make up the human being, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
There's the body, the external vessel. There's the mind, which is the subtle sort of. I don't know how would you describe a mind? Like it's like a thing that operates in a space which you can't grab physically.
Yeah.
With your
That's why meditation. So I always say this, if you just try even any type of meditation, just briefly, like, where you want to try and quiet your mind, or if you're doing some mantra meditation, you want to focus on the mantra, you very quickly realize there's a difference between you and your mind. Your mind's like, and you realize, no, I need to.
I'm watching this, like.
Yeah, there's a difference between me and my mind. I'm not just, most people, without thinking about it, they think I am my mind. So my mind says, buy this or do that or get this, and I've got to do it. But then when you start to realize that, no, there's a difference between me and my mind is something I need to control, otherwise it's going to control me. So maybe that's a practical way for people at home to see what the mind is.
Some like really fascinating stuff about this. So we've said the body, the mind, and then there's the consciousness. The being that's experiencing, right?
Not getting too because there's Buddhi as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it gets into it, but like just
right.
loosely, like. So you've got the body's like the hardware. This is back to computers.
Yeah.
The body's the hardware. The mind's the software, and you, the consciousness, are the operator or the user. So like with a computer, if there's no user, it doesn't really do anything. Even you need a user at some point to click the button to do any process on a computer. Otherwise, the computer is just like dead, So.
It's interesting that analogy now is probably even more. I don't know much about computers, but because it used to be, I guess, if you destroyed your hardware, then your software would be destroyed as well. But I guess now with things like the clouds and that,
Internet, like.
It's like a similar thing. You could destroy your body, but you have ghosts and that.
Yeah,
the subtle body could still be alive.
That's what a ghost is. It's the hardware's gone, but the software's hanging around in the cloud.
Apple Cloud is.
I like it.
So.
I like it.
Thank you.
Me like. But no, basically our mind is where all of the emotions take place. So like any emotional feeling that you have is taking place in that subtle space of the mind. Mm-hmm. So like it's interesting, I was hearing a class about putting space between you, the user, and your mind and your emotions. So in other words, just because we feel an emotion doesn't mean that we have to wrap ourselves up in it. Mm-hmm. So if you feel angry, it doesn't mean you are angry. It means that anger's happening. But more often than not, because we're not mindful in the moment, we get entangled in that anger. And it goes from that identifying with the anger, then it turns into the gross world. It goes into the physical hardware. Because you're angry, you do a physical act. You express that anger in some way. But like if you can create space between you and your emotions, like it's a very powerful tool. And select emotions. You can select which emotions are favorable for your overall goal. So like I don't know. If you feel positive emotions, you should embrace them, because it's not like we're trying to say deny your emotions, because emotions are what gives life its flavor, isn't it? Like that's what gives life.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people, I've seen it. Some people don't know how to manage. So they can be too detached from their emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't know exactly how do I really feel. But I mean, even growing up from a Catholic background, you know, I remember when I was little, that idea of managing emotions. I remember thinking like, oh, no, or even, you know, it doesn't have to be religious. Even no, I should forgive this person, for example. Like I might not have that emotion of forgiveness there. My natural emotion might be I'm annoyed with him, but through my, you know, intelligence and desire, I can actually, no, I should forgive that person. Let me try and search out this emotion of forgiveness, and somehow or other try and apply it.
Well, what this class was saying is mind blowing for me. Like saying, okay, we understand that we should forgive that person. We don't feel like forgiving that person, but we should act out the forgiveness. So with our physical body, we do an action, and then the physical world affects the emotional. So it feeds back. So like, I don't feel like going out and distributing books today, but you go out and distribute books.
Books.
Yeah, I'm talking about Monk. There's a Monk thing.
Or
Okay, I don't feel like selling a big issue today. I don't feel like going to work in the factory today. Paul's our resident factory legend.
Yeah, those of you who don't know Paul, he's been on a podcast episode in the podcast. And he's been on episode.
He's the first
previously.
ever guest. He was on episode 4 or 5.
He's a very advanced Bhakti yogi.
Yeah, and he works in a factory up the valleys.
So it's nice to have him here because he keeps us on track. And I'm going to listen to everything you're going to say, but while you're talking, I'm going to see if I can get a astrology app.
Hey, say something to the camera.
Hello.
Whoa, okay. Thanks, Paul. No, get.
I just had their minds blown. You know, like I'm going off track.
Can I just say one more thing?
No, yeah, of course you can.
Because on this section, it was just very interesting. He was saying that software has memory. So like based on every action that we've done in our within this life and previously, dictates the way our software reacts to external stimulus. So for instance, say you go on Google and you type in...
like your search history.
Yeah, you search something like... I don't know, what would you search?
I don't know.
Pokemon. You know, you type Pokemon once and you explore the Pokemon internet world, right? And then the next time you come back and you want to type in something else, like I don't know, Puri.
Puri, the place.
Yeah, whatever.
Or the food.
The food. It's like an Indian food, Puri. But you type P and immediately Pokemon autofills, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like that, like we have a stimulus that triggers an immediate response, but we have to actually override the immediate response and sort of respond and reprogram our mind to think in a way that's favorable to our overall goal, our overall desire, you know?
Nice.
You was on your phone, wasn't you?
I was paying attention.
You didn't. What did I say then?
You said that.
I gave a bad
reflective
example.
listening. No, just like your software can update, just like you gave the example of search engine.
Yeah.
So my activities have impressions on like whatever I do in the future.
Nice.
What I was doing on my phone was I was seeing your horoscope for today.
Oh really? Go on then. Let's say
I couldn't find a Vedic one, but this is one of the Western ones, which probably isn't.
Probably.
Okay. May the 25th.
Can I just say, like, I'm a bit into this kind of thing.
I used to, when I was doing art, when I was studying art in college, I used to see my horoscope every day.
Do you ever get into like cards, like angel cards, tarot cards kind of thing?
You know Mishrani?
Yeah, I know Mishrani.
So
she might be on the podcast soon as well.
So she used to do tarot card reading. And I was asking her, how does it work, you know? Do the cards actually mean anything? She said, yeah, the cards mean anything, but she said it's like anything else. So she said you can read someone's aura or their future. You can use, that's why you see like some use cards, some might use like stones or water or...
A little pendulum.
Yeah. She said you just use the medium. She said what you're doing is you're reading them. So somehow or other, their energy is going on this, and then you're just putting it out in front of them. You're using any sort of device to lay it out in front of them, and then she describes it. Then you just read what you see.
Yeah, 100%. It is, these cards for me, like I used them a lot before I was moving in the ashram, just like asking so many questions of the universe.
Didn't know this.
Yeah, I used to like, you could ask my mother, right? Every day I do like a 21 card reading, like every
Would you?
single day. Yeah, I'd be like really into it. Like, okay, I can't remember the names of the cards.
Uh-huh.
These are angel cards. They're oracle angel cards, right?
Uh-huh.
And it would be so in line with what my life was.
Uh-huh.
But I felt like it was actually just this tool for introspection.
Yeah, that's what Mishani was saying. So similar thing, yeah.
So I was like using these cards and reading the descriptions and thinking, how does this description apply to me? And then it would pull out how I feel about a situation and help me to make a decision into the future.
Right.
And I also did sense there was some kind of like mystical element to it, in the sense that the universe or Krishna or there's some sentient demigods, whatever, were guiding me through these cards in some way, you know, like I was getting very like, whoa, okay, this is really on point. And even now, like
it's like your angel number thing, isn't it?
yeah, I got angel numbers. Like I see like synchronous numbers around, and they mean different things based on. Like one day we could do an angel number.
You should whole angel number
episode, because I got some really
It's-
far out angel number stories.
Can I remember when we went, because it's Download Festival soon. It was the first time I took you to Download Festival.
Yeah,
You were saying, oh, these angel numbers, and I was like, you're
He's nuts.
freaking schizophrenic paranoid, you know.
I was
Isn't
that.
it? Yeah.
You went wrong.
Which is true. And then you're like, no, look. And then you started pointing out these numbers and all these synchronicities and what
Yeah.
they mean. And I was like, oh my God, you know, is there something to this?
There definitely is something to it. You can go too deep into it.
I'm still a skeptic when it comes to angel numbers.
Yeah, but you're about to read my horoscope,
Yes.
so how dare you?
Virgo, right?
Okay, go on then.
What are you, Paul? Gemini.
What's Gemini? The twins.
Yeah. Okay, this is Virgo for May the 25th, 2022. For those of you who listen to this
What's the date?
podcast, this is Spoiling the
It's
Magic.
not-
This
it's not
podcast was
even-
recorded
That's not
on
even
25th.
now. It's the 25th of May. What did you say?
25th.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
All right, okay, here we go. Oh, I don't think you should do
Do you have to say a mantra? Or?
Feel free. This is my horoscope voice. Feel free to take the lazy route today. Yes. Virgo.
All right, I love this.
Don't lift a finger. I can't believe this.
This is the best. I love it. This is true. I knew these were true, right, Paul? I've got so much faith in
All
this.
right, okay.
Carry on.
Calm down.
Read that for a second. Read it
Right,
again.
Let me go from the start.
Just read it one more time.
Without being... All right, here we go. Feel free to take the lazy route today. Yes. Virgo. Don't lift a finger if you don't really have to. It may be hard to get others moving as well. You can prod all you want, but ultimately, if people don't want to go, they aren't going to. Your flexible nature...
Sorry,
yeah,
that's wrong.
this isn't true. Your flexible nature
It must be physically flexible.
might be put to the test.
Oh, God.
More than likely, you will find that you need to adopt to the whims of others rather than the other way around.
Hmm.
And that's your daily horoscope for
Thanks.
today.
No, I feel like that was spot on. I'm not doing anything for the rest of the day. You can lead the what's it called, podcast.
I'm carrying this podcast as it is.
Shots fired.
No. To be honest, Back Rupert, without you, a lot of this won't happen. Like, podcasts won't happen.
To be honest,
the program tonight
this was
as well.
my dream for a long time to have a podcast. I was, like I said, I was a Joe Rogan nougat, follower of Joe Rogan.
Well, when I thought to do podcasts, I was just thinking like Shiv Ramaswamy did, just little, or like 3 minutes, like,
Yeah,
and yeah.
but this is a podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
this is a...
it was so interesting talking about synchronicities, and we're talking about how we started the podcast about 2 years ago. Like I must have been thinking like, it'd be really nice to do a podcast. And then you text me, we should do a podcast.
Mm.
I was like, what? Okay. And then at the same time, the Wisdom of the Sages podcast, shout out,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Bhakti Yoga podcast in America, just started exploding.
Mm.
So it was like this whole podcasts are a thing now,
Hmm.
and I'm glad we jumped on it because now we've got this cool medium.
Yeah.
We get messages off people. It's like
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
it's a fun thing to do. Like, so this was definitely arranged by the angels, for sure.
Should we see what Gemini's
Gemini
podcast, horoscope is?
podcast.
Ready, Paul?
Hit me with it.
How's the voice? Is that right? It's a nice horoscope voice.
Can I just test Paul's voice? Speak.
Hello.
Oh, that's a nice, silky smooth podcast voice from Paul there. His wire's on his head. Okay. Ready, Paul?
Got my earmuffs on.
This is May 25th, 2022 for Gemini. And for any Geminis out there as well, you might find this applies to you. And please write in. Did the Virgo horoscope?
What does this podcast become like?
Yeah. I don't know, yeah. Anyway, if you want to know more about Krishna consciousness, pick up the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Motivation must come from within. Gemini. The only thing that can pull you out of bed is your inner drive and determination. Too much partying.
Well, I did have a ginger beer last night. So I was on a beer.
Too much partying could leave you drained to the point that you don't want to move. Remember moderation, Paul. It doesn't actually say Paul in the thing. Be good to your body. Go outside and let your thoughts radiate outward like rays of sunshine. Feel the ground beneath your feet.
That's got to be on Sankirtan, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Paul's going out today to distribute books. So.
Touch the feet
Yeah.
on the floor.
There you go.
I don't know about the partying bit though.
That's the thing. I mean, but, that's why I wasn't so into astrology. But, the way they do it in India, like we've got one astrologist that lives with us at the minute in the contemporary Vedic ashram, Kelvin. He read my wife's father's astrology, Gavin, and it blew his mind.
Blew Gavin's mind.
Yeah, because he was just like, he's not into this sort of stuff. He doesn't really, he's not into it. But like any average average person who's intelligent, you don't just blindly believe things.
Yeah.
But it told him all this stuff that he was like shocked. Like, how would anyone else know that? It told him about the relationships he had with his, ex-wife, to the relationship he would have with his boss, to, the different things in his life. And it was just like, you could see that he was really spooked, because Vedic astrology is much more accurate science. Yeah, because it looks at the time of your birth, and the planets have effect. That's where the word lunatic comes from the moon, Luna, because like full moons, they have, look at the way it moves the tides.
Yeah.
So similarly, they have a magnetic, control over our bodies and minds, and it actually has everything's so fine-tuned in this world. Look how fine-tuned life is. Then these magnetic influences of the planets, they do have some input and effect in our lives.
So this, we've established them, right? There's some kind of credence, some kind of destiny within this universe, right? We've got some kind of we're influenced by the external universe.
Because every action has a reaction.
Yeah.
So what we call destiny is just the reactions that are going to happen because of actions that have happened previously. It's like, Prabhupada give the example, he's sitting on a branch of a tree and he's sawing the branch. But when he finishes sawing the branch off, he's going to fall down because he's sitting on the end of the branch.
Stupid thing to do.
Someone walks past and says, "Hey, if you keep doing that, you're going to fall." And he's like, "Oh, shut up. I'm going to carry on sawing this branch." And then he does, and he falls on the floor, and he gets up and he's like, "How did you know that would happen? You must be a great astrologer, a great mystic." But all he was doing is just looking and just telling what was going to happen. So those with different consciousness can see the future. Yeah. It's not such a big deal for them. For us, we think it's wonderful, but it's just seeing what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So I was just thinking about this idea of being the architect of your own destiny. So not surrendering to this cause and effect cycle, which you described. You know, like if I do one action, then I get a reaction and then an action. But as the Bhagavad Gita actually, Krishna begins to describe that we all have a destiny that's beyond, that's higher than our material. The Gita's there.
No, I'm looking for Science of Self-Realization
It's not here.
book.
Anyway,
Just carry on.
I was just thinking
like I
about-
always do. I'm
yeah.
just looking
Okay,
for
so
something to
Gopal's
read.
gone for the next 5 minutes then.
Yeah. Whoa, look at the Pokemon.
No, but like, you know, Arjuna's kind of on the battlefield. Arjuna's saying, I don't want to fight anymore, Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
For this reason, for that
Uh-huh.
reason, for the other reason.
Uh-huh.
And Krishna's saying, actually, you should fight because the battle's already preordained by me. Like I've already arranged this situation in such a way that the battle will turn out a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know that verse? Be but an instrument in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He says that, Krishna says, you know, the enemy are put to death by my arrangement. This is in the 13th, in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna says, you know, show me the form of you, show me the universal form, show me yourself in that universal manifestation. Everything within the universe I know to be you, Krishna, so show me that form. And Krishna gives Arjuna the vision to see him in this kind of vast, expansive, very fearful form with sharp teeth, blowing fire, killing. He is death. And this in this chapter where Krishna reveals himself as this universal form is the famous verse from the there's when the nuke went off. Someone said, who was the guy that quoted it?
Yeah, well, he misquoted it, didn't he? But
He did misquote it, but like, time I am, the
Yeah.
destroyer of these worlds, you know.
Yeah. Harish? No. It wasn't Harishima, was it?
Hiroshima, yeah. But that's the... So Arjuna sees this form, and he actually sees that the battle is already done. All of his... Because he's lamenting about his family members dying, but he sees before him the family members being dismembered and chomped and destroyed and killed, you know. And Arjuna's like, oh, Krishna, like, this is horrible. Like, seeing this form of actually how God is, like, time. And time is dragging everyone towards the grave, you know. Like the Black Sabbath song, Children of the Grave, you know. Like, we're born to die, you know. If you know, you know. But that's it. Like, Arjuna's like, this is freaking me out. Like, this is horrible. Like, I want to see you in your original form, you know. And at that point, then the tone changes. Krishna's like, basically says, pull yourself together. Like, he says, you got to fight because the battle's already been ordained and arranged by me. Because there's a higher purpose. There's a higher like plan, like the Drake song, God's plan. God's plan.
I don't know.
God's plan. You're a bit out of touch.
All these music references, I don't know.
I don't really. I'm just throwing them out there. People will know. But yeah, like, God has a plan, an ultimate destiny for all of us. And if we align ourselves with that ultimate destiny, then we can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Krishna says, is align yourself with this higher destiny, with this ultimate purpose of serving God's plan as opposed to your own individual plan. Because your own individual plan is similar to that guy sawing the tree, you know. You know, he's got this idea of how he's going to make himself happy. But you might end up hurting yourself, you know, because how can we know what's good for us? It's like a kid. If you just give a kid the choice all the time, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat for dinner? And it's like, I want sweets and chocolate. By the end, he'll lose all his teeth. He'll be fat and he'll be sad because he doesn't know what is good for.
Like me. That's what happened to me. I ate loads of... I just couldn't stop eating sweets. Go on.
That's good.
Yeah. And I wouldn't brush my teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
I just like... Yeah. But
So
I
yeah.
got my act together at some point when I
Nice
became a
one.
Hare Krishna.
But yeah, that's the idea. There's a plan that's higher. There's a higher destiny that we can align ourselves with. And the more we align ourselves with that destiny, the less anxious we feel. Because anxiety is us getting in the way of our higher plan. It's us worrying about the situation in the future. How can I control this situation so that I get most pleasure without accepting that there's actually a higher power, that's a higher plan, which is already arranging for our future.
Yeah.
Like you hear about the concept of surrendering to Krishna, and one element of that is accepting that Krishna or God is our ultimate well-wisher. He's our best friend, you know. And like,
Sorry, can you say anything in the background?
I think so, but it might just be the rain.
Oh yeah, go on.
So yeah, like, there's accepting that Krishna is our guardian, that has our best interest in heart. And if we can keep remembering this when we're getting anxious, okay, I can't worry. Worrying about this isn't helping me. It's just making me focus on something negative. I'm going through something negative in my mind, and just by contemplating this negativity, it's having an effect on the way I feel. So instead of just rotating on the negativity and focusing on the negativity, focus on something different. Man above, mad back too, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and I think because what you were saying, because I was thinking of similar. I was thinking about this interview with Prabhupada and Science of Self-Realization, and the question was, so because as you were speaking, then you make me think, and the question was, if you do take it that there's a destiny, right?
Like God's plan, like you mean? Or?
Well, no, because not everything's God's plan.
Yeah.
You know, that's quite, you know, it's a lot of things that are destiny is because of actions that we've done, and you know, but this is the point really, that if you see everything as deterministic like that, or that then doesn't that stop human progress? You know, doesn't that stop you from trying to achieve better things in your own life, and to, you know, doesn't that stop progress if you believe this idea of karma and that things are going to happen? And Prabhupada said, well, what's your idea of progress? He said, you are running around on 4 wheels, the dog is running around on 4 legs. You know, real progress isn't anything to do with, you know, the sort of gross, mechanic of what's happening in this world, sort of externally. But if you take it like, okay, in one sense, what's going to happen is going to happen in my life, that could also be an impetus to think, okay, yeah, I should think about the deeper things. What's real progress? Real progress isn't just trying to adjust my destiny on a material level, because ultimately it doesn't matter. Real progress is I should adjust my destiny on a spiritual level, sort of thing. And I thought, similar like when you were saying in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says, you know, this battle is already won, you know, because there's a way Arjuna could have fought the battle in many different ways, but Krishna is saying, but your consciousness while you do it, that's the important thing. It's like you're saying, you know, you might have a destiny, and you might have troubles, and, you know, joyous things that are destined to happen to you in your life, but it's how you react to them, and it's to how you develop yourself as a person throughout your life, and how you want to dovetail yourself in your spiritual life, isn't it? It's not just...
Doesn't Krishna say as well, you shouldn't be too happy when something good happens, and you shouldn't be too depressed when something bad happens?
Yeah, and there's a lot of like you were saying, like, you know, but you're getting rid of a lot of weight when you can just allow yourself to, okay, there's some things that are going to happen that are out of my control.
Most things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how's your heart beating right now?
Yeah, exactly.
You mean doing nothing? It's
My nails growing, my hair, you know.
Yeah.
I was sick, you know, the other day, and I didn't do anything to... You know, my body is working overtime and healing myself constantly. You know, it knows exactly what to do. I don't have a clue. I don't do anything. You know, so there's so much that happens without our sort of direct management. But that's why the human being, we should think about spiritual life. We shouldn't be thinking just about how to, you know, how best shall I eat and sleep and that.
Because we can't control the situation. It's actually unnatural for us to be the controller, the ultimate controller, isn't it?
Yeah, we control to such a tiny degree. Like, but we want to be supreme controller because we want to be the supreme enjoyer, because controlling means enjoying, and if I want to enjoy, I want to control. Yeah. We have to give up this propensity and become a loving servant of the supreme, and then we start to access real happiness.
Yeah, for sure. It works as well. And you know when you're in the way, and everything becomes difficult when you're worrying about situations. How can I need to get this position, or I'll have this thing, and that will make me happy. It's just suffering, actually. Yeah. You can worry though.
Anxiety.
It is natural to worry, innit? I heard one cool thing is, if you do worry, instead of worrying all the time, just set aside half an hour a day for worrying. That's your worry time.
Yeah, setting yourself worry time and only worrying about the things that, like, what is it? That circle of influence and circle of concern. You know, if you can do something about it, then just write down what you can do and be practical. But yeah, if you're really going to worry, then I think we said that a couple of weeks ago. Then yeah, set yourself time to worry.
So we've got this. So
Sit there and worry. I'm going to start worrying.
we've got like, so what it sounds like from just this discussion, we've got two kinds of destinies. We've got kind of a material destiny and a spiritual destiny. The spiritual destiny comes when you line yourself up with God's plan.
Yeah.
So how can you,
spiritual destiny, you can. Material destiny, you can't. In this life, you can't do that much about it. In terms of, you have a certain amount of happiness and distress that's awarded to you in this life that's going to come. Material happiness and distress.
and it's preordained. Like you sometimes some people are just working their whole life trying to get money and they can never get it.
Yeah, and some people don't work at all and they get
Yeah.
it so much. But and also, like, what was it like? There's this he was one of the richest men in India, Bhaktivedanta Punaswami, who was one of our teachers. Went to go see him.
Okay.
He just walks in to the office, bang! Everyone springs into, they put these papers in front of him. He signs a few papers on his way to his desk. Sits at his desk, makes a few phone calls. He's there for about half an hour, and then he goes, and that's all the work he does for the day. You know. Yeah, he's multi-billionaire, and and you get some people who just work so hard, but they don't make anything. It's not done just on your own effort. There's so much else going on,
And that's a very liberating and kind of revolutionary thought, right? That
so like the exact, like, you could think it was, doesn't that stifle progress, that sort of thinking? Because why would anyone work hard? But no, that actually encourages spiritual progress. Because this material thing that's going on right now, don't spend too much time worrying about it. It will go on. It will clock on. But focus your time on changing your supreme destiny. And people can change their material destinies in their next lives and stuff. That's why they try and cultivate good karma. But even that is ultimately just futile.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, we could plan. We should make a plan, right? To somehow follow this higher path that we have, right? The spiritual, to somehow like live our best life in a spiritual sense, right? That's why.
Yeah. And that starts with investigating it, doesn't it? Because some people say, well, my higher path is this, my higher path is that.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how?
Just follow your higher path, and that could mean so many different things.
It could be a material thing. Like, my higher path is to, I don't want to say it.
I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it can be. You can live, because that's why the Bhagavad Gita is so scientific. There's different modes of nature. You can choose the way you live your material life, and it can increase the quality of your experience. And the way you do that is through the modes of nature, as explained in Bhagavad Gita. But if you're trying to make a plan on your life, which is good, but the idea that materially I shouldn't put too much energy in, you should only live just enough, Srimad Bhagavatam explains, so you can live comfortably, and then the balance of time you spend on self-realization. So then your life plan looks different then. Instead of like, I've got to work extra hours, work extra money so I can get this good house, it'll be more on, no, I should change my I should work on myself.
Yeah, the way I do this, it's not what I'm doing, it's how can I change the way I'm doing it.
Yeah. And okay, spiritual life, I've heard something about Bhagavad Gita, and maybe I should go into understanding Bhagavad Gita more, or some other yoga texts, or something that helps me try and find out the ultimate purpose of existence.
It's interesting. I was just thinking, because we've got Paul here. Paul's been practicing Bhakti Yoga for almost 4 years now, isn't it? Would you say?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
So 4 or 5 years he's been practicing a little bit, and he, like, externally he's still doing a similar thing. Like, he's going to work, he's got his job. I was wondering how have you experienced like this transformation in the way you do things? Has it had an effect? Is there like, because we've got a practical example of normal working man.
He's glowing.
I'd like to say that difference between me now and like say 6 years ago is is unrecognizable. Like totally unrecognizable. I mean nobody's drunk more than me, like, to be honest, in life. I mean, nobody can teach me nothing about drinking, right? I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I was in the
There you go.
pubs
See,
at
if you went to
14
devote
years
that,
ago now, I sit
that'd
now.
probably be applicable. That
I was in the
astrology.
pubs and I was like 14, 15 years old. And I was drinking pretty much solid up until I was about 50 years old. Like four times a week, 5 times a week, you know. Never so much that I probably became addicted to it, but yeah.
I wasn't
so-
addicted. I just did it until I was 50 years old
I
and 4
just
days a
drank
week.
all the time, pretty much. So yeah, but like, yeah, when the COVID started, I mean, that was a time when and I stopped going into pubs, so pubs are closed anyway. So I used that as an opportunity, along with Bhakti Yoga, with service, devotional service, and yeah, I'm unrecognizable
Yeah.
the way I'm now.
Yes, the
Definitely.
proof of the pudding's in it. Once you start practicing, you just see you got devotees who are now young men who are in the contemporary Vedic ashram, and they're just seeing themselves now from a year ago when they weren't practicing the, yoga lifestyle as taught by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and they were like, the difference is just, it's so tangible. It's such a higher quality of experience of life that you can get by being Krishna conscious. Yeah. And you can see it in people like Paul, whose eyes are glowing now with.
Thanks. I like the further you progress in Bhakti Yoga, it's only then you start to realize how strong Maya is. Because like when you're kind of more kind of in the mix type of thing, it's like you can't see it, like what's going on, but like the more sort of more progressed you become, you can kind of see things more clearly, and you can see how strong.
You can more identify the
as Tarak
pushings and pullings of the material
class,
energy.
Like, it's just Maya is so strong. Like,
yeah, Maya is a Sanskrit word for material energy, and the pushings and the pullings and the scratchings and the beatings of the material energy.
As you were saying, like destiny is, we all got like a certain amount of control over our destiny, but Vedic wisdom tells us we're all like puppets on a string, really, of the modes of nature. So ultimately, that control is, what is it? This, it's like chasing a mirage in the desert, really, on the solid material level. Like.
That's a good name for the podcast. That is. I mean, Destiny's a good name, but Puppets on a String, I like that.
That's nice. Yeah.
That could be the little subtitle. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
No, it's inspiring to see Paul take to like Krishna consciousness in like a serious way, and he's a normal valley boy, like, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not just for those brainwashed fanatics. Like,
It's not
that's
just
like,
for me.
it's
Like,
normal people can do this too.
normal people can do it. No, it's
Nice.
powerful.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. So yeah, I think that's a nice way to polish off the episode.
Welsh Yogi Podcast, and we've been going
About
49 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good time, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. You've been listening to this for 49 minutes, and well done.
Fair play. You've got a strong destiny ahead of you.
Yeah. Thank you. So, for more astrological readings, then please email the Welsh Yogi Podcast, and we'll see
And
you.
expect no response. No.
Thank you very much.
That was one thing that we should have mentioned at the top of the episode.
I was going to mention it next week.
Okay, we'll mention it next week.
I know what you're going to say.
Okay,
We'll do it next week.
we'll do it next week.
When you do it with Mashani and talk about this topic.
Yeah, it's cool. And another message from our sponsors.
I don't know where's the sponsorship money coming from? Are you keeping it? Because I'm not seeing any of it.
Just don't worry about that.
I guess they do,
Another word from our
He's putting it
sponsors.
on his Sankirtan school.
There's a Bhakti Yoga retreat.
Oh, yeah.
This is because you've listened this far, listener.
Then
You are qualified. Okay. There's an immersive Bhakti Yoga retreat, and it's going to be 4 days of nature, introspection, meditation.
I've got a whole
Wisdom.
I got a PowerPoint on it.
There's a whole PowerPoint.
I want to give the presentation, and there's
Delicious vegetarian cuisine. And What date is it, Gopal?
I'm trying to find
Oh wait,
out.
our sponsors should know.
You got me off guard.
So okay, it's gonna be in July
Yeah,
or June. It's not really helpful. One sec, let me just find the date. Thanks for just
Wait, I'm looking for that poster. Here we are. Right. Here we go. Right, yeah. So from the 23rd till 26th of the 6th.
Of what? July. June.
June.
So next month.
And authentic, integrative, holistic. Basically, it's in the... we found this little place we can use as a retreat centre in Swansea, just off from Swansea Airport. And there's a... I don't know if it even is an airport anymore. There's some planes around Swansea. And,
just one quickly. I did learn to fly from Swansea Airport once.
Exactly.
I had a few flying lessons.
That's my case, right?
Oh, come on.
And then, anyway, there's a nice lake there, and it'll be an immersive experience. We had a retreat last year, and it went very well, didn't it, Paul? And we'll do... So we go deeper into... There'll be yoga every day, and then we'll also... It'll be based on mantra meditation, yoga lifestyle, and...
Ancient wisdom.
Yeah. So we'll go into... we'll go into the knowledge of Bhakti more. We'll do looking at lifestyles more. We'll do every evening. We'll have kirtan, which is always a wonderful experience. And
it'd be a good chance to just to dip, to immerse, to plunge yourself into some bhakti, into some spiritual practice.
It is amazing. Like, I know we're not saying it very well, but it is very good.
Wherever you're from in the UK, if you've listened to this now, come. Get a megabus to Cardiff. We'll take you to Swansea, whatever it is, isn't it?
Yeah, or if you live in Swansea. Then.
If you live in Swansea, even better. But just come. I'm telling you now, you will not regret it. And we'll do a podcast there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll do a live studio audience podcast. And if you come from the podcast, you will be in the podcast.
Oh, there we go.
And you'll be on YouTube and...
We're going to be inundated now. You don't know what you've done.
I've opened a floodgates now.
Yeah.
Limited spaces, so get to us, help@tkrishna.com, right? Or message the podcast Instagram.
Yeah.
No.
Do you check that?
What, help? You do, don't you?
The Instagram.
I check the Instagram.
Okay, yeah. Okay, please. I think that's enough now.
Okay, we've waffled.
Thank you, everyone. Welsh Yogi Podcast. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Shikshana Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta